who was worth only $100, showing that yes, you cannot worship God in splendor, and that the best way to worship God is to worship God through self-sacrifice for others. So the message is very clear that Nigerians should love one another, and that poverty is not a crime, and that poverty could sometimes be a virtue of God, and that whatever you have, you should be able to share with your brothers and sisters. And above all, in this period of that Easter just ended, which coincided with the Salah, it's all about God. That yes, indeed, that love should transcend everything, because God so loved the world that He sent.
Nuisance, Lele.
So how about, let's start with this. Akpabiole stole 117 billion naira when he was governor of Akwa State. So then he got arrested, like Okowa. Then Akpabiole, who I don't know if he's a Catholic, but I know he's a Christian. Abi, all of you will be Christian watching me right now. Sure, you go agree with me that let's start with what Akpabiole stole, if he learned a lesson from the late Pope, okay? So he stole 117 billion naira when he was arrested. Akpabiole, after being governor, so he went to the Senate, okay? So when he was arrested, he was told to decamp to APC. This was under Bukwari. Akpabiole did that, and just like that, the entire case disappeared. Then Akpabiole got appointed as the minister for Niger Delta Ministry. Akpabiole stole over 4 trillion naira. You heard me right, 4 trillion naira in a space of 3 years. That it became so scandalous that they set up a Senate committee to investigate this. Right? There was a guy, Pandain or something. Is that Pandain or something? That was his name. I've been a Pandain. I don't know. I remember, but you remember the guy that painted when they asked him to defend all this money. A lady who also exposed Akpabiole of being a chronic, thief, as well as a ritualist, that was going to use her to cover his own ass. Remember that woman, right? Anyway, the whole entire investigation about the missing money in the Ministry of Niger Delta till tomorrow, no head, no tail. So Akpabiole has been rewarded with the Senate of Nigeria, number 3 seats of power in Nigeria. So if he learned anything from this late Pope, is for somebody like him to now go back to Nigeria, right? Withdraw all of his wealth that he stole from you, the people's money is to, right? And then just give it back. You get what I mean? And just say, you know what, guys? Out of the 4 trillion naira I stole as a minister, only 2 trillion touched my hands. There are many other people who benefited. It wasn't just me. Just like the same way we're saying, ask your Shaba. Now we gave him something too. We gave him something. We gave him something for your committee. It's okay. It's okay. Honorable Minister, off your mic. It's okay. Remember, that's the beginning of my song.
It's okay. It's okay. Off your mic. It's okay. Off your mic.
You get that? So that was when Akpabiole moved from being a senator to being a minister, then being investigated for stealing over 4 trillion naira unaccounted for, to becoming the Senate President of Nigeria. But to Nigerians, poverty can be a virtue. That's what he said. Live moderately and share whatever you have with your brothers. What about what you stole from millions of people? That should be the lesson from Rome. In my own opinion, no. If I am wrong as a Christian, maybe you should tell me. So while we were still trying to understand Akpabiole going to the Vatican's, right? Something popped up on the social media. This is another reason why you're going to know that Nigeria is not a real place. And Nigerians, majority of them are dafties, okay? So the Nigerian media, right, they published a story that Natasha and apologized to Akpabiole. Apologized for what? They say, oh, she's posted the apology. Oh, my baby shock at the me. So the shock me, want to bone me, right? Was when a lawyer was kind of like hosted it to, on AIT. They hosted a lawyer, and the lawyer said he's Natasha's lawyer. And he actually said this satirical apology, which is a joke, by the way, if you listen to the content, right? The lawyer said the apology is real. Natasha has apologized. So now they can continue the process of recalling now. Oh, I'll show you that. But here is the apology. Natasha wrote on Facebook, right? She said, from the desk of Senator Natasha Akpabiole, dear distinguished Senate President Godless Akpabiole, it's with the deepest sarcasm and utmost theatrical regret that I tender this apology for the grievous crime of possessing dignity and self-respect in your most exalted presence. I have reflected extensively on my unforgivable failure to recognize that legislative success in certain quarters is apparently not earned through merit, but through the ancient art of compliance of the very personal kind. How remiss of me not to understand that my refusal to indulge your requests was not merely a personal choice, but a constitutional violation of the unwritten laws of certain men's entitlements. Truly, I must apologize for prioritizing competence over capitulation, vision over vanity, and the people's mandate over private dinners behind closed doors. I now realize the catastrophic consequences of my actions, legislations delayed, tempers cleared, and the tragic bruising of egos so large they require their own postcodes. For this disruption to the natural order of quid pro quo, I bow my head in fictional shame. Please find it in your magnanimous heart, somewhere buried deep beneath layers of entitlement, to forgive this stubborn woman who mistakenly believed that her seat in the Senate was earned through elections, not erections. Erections, oh. I remain yours, eternal resistance. Senator Natasha Akpabiole, unafraid, unbought, and unbroken. And that's Natasha's apology that the Nigerian media actually sees as an apology. Illiterates, parading themselves as public opinionists or something. In a shit-old place where lies actually weighs a ton in gold. Lies. Oh, Natasha mocked them in the video though. Anyway, you've seen this.
Good evening, indigents of Kogi State and citizens of great Nigeria. I greet you all. This video of appreciation is long overdue, and I sincerely apologize for the late, for this late message. I have never for once taken for granted the love you have shown me all these years. Neither have I lost faith in our struggle for liberation, in making a greater Kogi State and a better Nigeria. And I'd like to pass a huge tons of love to my great locals from Kogi Central. You all were amazing throughout my...
Anyway, as they are dealing with that, I don't know who this OPO is. They said it's Natasha's lawyer. Oh my. Listen to these exchanges between AIT presenters and this Natasha's lawyer over that sarcasm or so letter or apology of Natasha. Intentional, kind of like intentionally dumb. Because ordinary.
That I tender this apology for the grievous crime of possessing dignity and self-respect in your most exalted presence. I have reflected extensively on my unforgivable failure to recognize that legislative success in certain quarters is apparently not earned through merit, but through the ancient art of compliance of the very personal kind. How remiss of me not to understand that my refusal to indulge your requests was not merely a personal choice, but a constitutional violation of the unwritten laws of certain men's entitlement. Truly, I must apologize for prioritizing competence over capitulation, vision over vanity, and the people's mandate over private dinners behind closed doors. I now realize the catastrophic consequences of my actions. Legislation delayed, tempers flared, and the tragic bruising of egos so large they require their own postcodes. For this disruption to the natural order of quid pro quo, I bow my head in fictional shame. Please find it in your magnanimous heart, somewhere buried deep beneath layers of entitlement, to forgive this stubborn woman who mistakenly believed that her seat in the Senate was earned through elections, not erections. Victor Giwa, thank you for joining us this morning. Victor is lawyer to Senator Natasha Akpabiole.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Victor. First, thank you for joining us. We'd like to confirm the authenticity of this letter by your client. Although it's on our social media platforms, but we'd like to know was or where her account hacked, or this is directly from her.
Yes, good morning. I can confirm because she wrote the letter yesterday. I can confirm that she authored the letter. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Now that you have confirmed that the letter was written by your client, what exactly would the backstory be here? Because if you're talking about an apology, which was what the Senate demanded when she was suspended, would you regard this as an apology that will be tenable before the Senate?
Sorry, come again and make it a bit below.
Okay, I said the Senate required her to tender an apology as part of the conditions for the removal of her suspension. Now, would you consider this something tenable before the Senate? Victor, did you hear me? Is Victor still with us?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Okay, so like I said, sorry, come again. Let me get the question, please.
Yes, my question very simply. This letter is an apology, but like she wrote, with plenty of sarcasm and theatrics. I'm quoting from our very first paragraph there. Do you think this is the way to go? Do you think it will be acceptable to the Senate as an apology, since she's required to apologize to the Senate before a suspension will be revoked?
Okay, yeah, thank you. I think it's an apology. Everybody and the Senate expected her to make an apology, and that apology she has made. I don't think that there was no condition. There was no condition attached to the apology as requested by the Senate, and I think that having written that apology, it will be in the interest of peace and reconciliation to accept the apology. Because, like I said, the apology was there was no condition attached to the apology. She has just apologized, to the Senate president, expressing herself that if a refusal to do what she called the compliance to her request, that it is better that she makes that apology, and the apology has been made. There was no condition attached to the kind of apology she should make, and I believe that the Senate should accept that apology wholeheartedly and recall her so that we can be done with this issue of suspension.
So for some people, some of the reactions under the comments will be that, oh, because you've been off our faces for some weeks and even days, that's why you brought this back to be in the news again. Do you see it like that? Because the argument would then be that you are not talking to kids. You by yourself said you are doing sarcasm. How are you doing sarcasm with a body as the Senate of a country?
Well, well, it depends on whoever is. The letter actually is meant for the Senate president, and directed to the Senate president. Apart from the Senate president, nobody should also be concerned about the nature of what is written in the letter. Whether people feel that she's out of the news and she's trying to bring herself back to the news is immaterial. What to me is important is that she has made an apology and has directed it to the Senate president. Maybe it will even help the Senate president to move forward with this, to go ahead with this record, to suspend, to remove a suspension.
Nuisance lele. Nuisance lele.
That one a lawyer. If not because they kept saying that he's Natasha lawyer, I would actually believe that he's like an officer that possibly went to change his costume. That too won't be right because we know how an officer look right now. How can you call that a letter of apology for? Come on, man. She's been sarcastic, right? And the content of that letter itself is not an official letter. And the lawyer says, oh, we wrote the letter yesterday, except maybe he didn't even know the letter they are talking about. The guy even read the content to him and he said, yes, lawyer Kogi lele my jejare. Kogi lawyer any. Some of them actually apologies to some of you who are like from Kogi and you are lawyers. So you do know what I'm talking about, right? We have so many of them around there. Yeah, Bello, by the way. Kogi lawyers. Foundational Kogi lawyers. Sort of. Anyway, Natasha hasn't really apologized to anybody, okay? It's just a sarcasm. And if the Nigerian media can't really treat it that way, then we just have to let it be. I mean, go to something else, right? Right. So here I have some few happenings that I'm just going to be like, oh, look at this. Oh, did you see that? Okay, you know what I mean? Like, for example, a young man who has raised an SOS, save our soul, kind of like save my soul, SMS, save my soul. Oh. He said he has a brother in the Nigerian, maybe in a Navy, or maybe in the Army, or not sure, but Nigerian military per se, right? And somehow they had a disagreement. This brother returned back home with gun and he shot his brother. And since then, he's been bedridden since then. And this young man from Anambra State is now asking for justice. Now, this is not politics. It is personal. Listen to his personal story, how he ended up in this position.
Good evening, my people of Dunukofia local government. Greetings to all my people of Anambra State. Greetings to Nigerians, all well-meaning Nigerians. I greet all of you all. Please, my name is Daniel Aneto Ibopwe. I'm from Ufulu in Dunukofia local government, Anambra State. I am soliciting for help. Please, I am shot by one Mr. Rinze Samuel Ibopwe, a custom officer. He is my stepbrother. He shot me with a gun. He came after me with AK-47 and a pistol. He has been terrorizing me and my siblings, promising and vowing that he must wipe two of us because we are only two that our mother born. as male. We are of the same father, but my mother is the head wife of our father, while Samuel Arise Ibopopu is a custom officer. He is of the second wife of our father. Arise has been terrorizing me and my elder brother Clifford. At the end, Arise killed Clifford. He is still in the mortuary as I am speaking. And 2-3 days ago,